Alright, peace and greetings, YouTubers. Okay, so the world is up in arms because once again the Oscar nominees have come out for the nominations, and once again everything is white, whitey, McWhiterson, white, okay? It's just like a bowl of white rice, okay? And, you know, no extra seasonings, no extra vegetables, juices, meats, okay? You can't stir this up and turn it into jambalaya or nothing. It's just straight white rice. And of course everybody's eating it up because, you know, just plain white rice seems to be great. Just plain with nothing else, okay? Diversity, people. So, you know, everybody's pissed off, and I'm kind of like, once again, what are y'all shocked at? This is how it's always been. I understand that we would like for that change to be implemented and for there to be more opportunity, but I feel like a lot of times we just have to learn that the way that the system is set up for entertainment and just actually as a whole, it's not for us. So anything that we would like to contribute and anything that we would like to get the same acclaim and accolade, it's very rare. And I've learned to accept that, and I'm going to bring it back full circle, so don't think that I'm just a sucker, but I'm just saying, I don't expect much from something like the Academy Awards. I don't expect them to use a different lens when trying to look through different things and see who should be nominated. Because I expect that when you have an Academy that's a majority, you know, demographic of middle-aged, old white men, I wouldn't expect Bartholomew, who grew up in North Dakota with the oil ranchers, to want to freaking nominate anything that we have because they don't freaking understand us. But going back to my point, I'm going to bring it back full circle. You know, so there were 4 films that were kind of circulated in the internet world that everybody's talking about. So, you know, it was like Concussion with Will Smith, and people thought that, you know, this is probably one of the best roles he's ever played in you know, in years. It's just, it has to get one. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen because you can't go against the NFL. That's already not even in the, I already knew that wasn't going to happen. And then, you know, Straight Outta Compton, which did receive a nomination for Best Screenwriting, but the screenwriters are 2 white men. And I guess, you know, the Academy is like, okay, you know, we gave the black film a nomination, but we're going to make sure that the white people involved with the film are the ones who receive the award, because nobody can tell a story about black people better than white people, because they know us better than we know ourselves, according to the Academy. So, you know, they got that. So, you know, never mind to E.F. Gary, you know, the director, you know, the black director, he couldn't do it right, and the black actors, none of them made the movie what it was. It was just the script, because, you know, it's just, the script was that, you know, dynamic. Never mind the contributions from Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. You know, none of that matters. It was all about the screenwriters, because I'm sure if you just take the script, it was just perfect the way it was. There was not, you know, because anybody could read it. You could get somebody that stutters to read that script, and it would have still been that great. You know, that's the kind of way they push it. And also, I remember they were talking about Creed, and actually Sylvester Stallone received a nomination for, I believe, Best Supporting Actor in the film, and I'm like, dang. He didn't even get nominated or win awards for the first 5 times he played Rocky. But you mean he get the nomination when he's not even Rocky? Or, you know, he's not really doing nothing? They said, you know what? You did such a good job playing a non-important character in this movie, we have to give you a nomination for it. So they did that. And then, of course, Beast of No Nation, which was on Netflix with Idris Elba. That was actually a really good movie, and it kind of covers what was going on. And I believe it's during the Liberian Civil War. They never actually say what country, but I believe it would have been Liberia around the time that was going on. But that, when I say that movie takes you somewhere, okay? Because anybody who's seen it, all you got to hear is about, striker, striker, striker. I'm like, oh, that part had me in tears, man. Okay, movies that movie, but unfortunately the Academy said, nope, sorry, Beasts of No Nation, stay on Netflix. We can't do it for you. And so my thing about it is, it sucks, and I hate that we never get the recognition, but that's how it's always been. And in my opinion, that's always going to be like that until we actually take over that entire industry, which that's going to be like World War III. And so the thing about it that I notice is, when it comes to anything black, I feel like the standard that's put on us is so high in comparison to anything white. Like, white people, I know there's a lot of y'all subscribe, but just take this as it is and fight to change it. But literally, white people get rewarded for any and everything, whether it's mediocre, whether it's great, whether it's terrible, they're going to get awards. Us? Oh no, we have to cure cancer and jump out of a burning building and do everything else just to get a little bit of recognition. Okay, when it comes to black films or black anything, whether it's the Grammys or the Oscars or the Tonys, like, for us to really receive any kind of accolades, I mean, our films have to be so dynamic. And the thing is, I feel like we just have to do so much just to get a little bit of recognition in comparison to a lot of other people who can just kind of come out with anything. You know, prime example, I'm going way off track here. Like, so my community center was, I got a letter one time. They're like, oh, you know, we've seen the work that you've been doing in community with your center, blah, blah. We want to give you an award of $2,000. And I'm like, oh, okay, $2,000, cool. I mean, that sounds like a lot for a community center that's like just snack for about the month. But cool, great. I'm so grateful. I'm glad somebody finally recognized us. Okay, so they're like, but you got to come to the ceremony to receive the award because, of course, they need the photo op. They want to make it look like, oh, we helped the black people, so let's have them give them a big giant check for $2,000, and take the picture and everything, and we'll make sure everybody on the board and stuff is in there. So we met our quota for the year. So I go to the event, and I'm not the only person getting the award. It's like a few other people from other organizations. So this organization, they go and they say the presentation about everything that my center's done before they give me the award. Oh, and I'm listening to this long list of things. I'm just sitting there smiling like, yeah, we off the chain. They're one of the highest performing community centers in the DMV, and this, that, the third, and then they have a 100% graduation rate from the kids that go to high school. Oh, they don't even have an incident report, not even a broke arm, nobody fell off the swing, and this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 blah. Long list of accomplishments before they give me my award. And everybody's clapping. I'm like, thank you, thank you. So then I'm still on stage because I have to stay on stage to listen to what the other people have done. So they start talking about this woman that volunteered for their organization. And I'm thinking that she has jumped out of a burning building and, rescued the cat, and, she parted the Red Sea, and she led the children of Israel to, in order for you, because after they finished naming everything my center did, because it took 5-6 years just to get that $2,000, I just know that she has done so much because she's getting the same $2,000 we're getting. So, she's getting $2,000 to go to her pocket. The $2,000 we're getting is going to run a center with, 100 kids. So, that money gets spread differently. So they start talking about what she's done. Like, she is just a bundle of joy. She's always on time. She's always in a good mood. She brought cookies to the last few meetings we had in the spring. There was a day where the gas card was missing. She actually bought the gas for the company vehicle out of her own pocket. And I'm sitting here looking like, that just sounds like a regular day at work for me. What? Is there another award? It was so funny because they're naming all this stuff, and I'm like, we're on the same stage, and I had to do all this for the same thing that you get, and all you did was bring some cookies and show up to work with a good attitude. That's what we're supposed to do. But anyway, so that literally goes to show how things operate. And I feel like the biggest thing that a lot of us should be fighting for, instead of recognition from the Academy Awards or the Golden Globes or the Grammys or whoever else dictates whether or not we're good at anything we do when we already know we are, I feel like we should be fighting for distribution. That's the biggest thing that black filmmakers, black screenwriters, black storytellers, black producers struggle with, getting our stuff even released. Because all of these distribution companies are owned by a bunch of white men, and they don't release our stuff. It's so hard for a black film to get distribution. And if you think about it, not to go there, but white films, you can make a white film about anything. It's gonna have a big release, big promotion, commercials, all kinds of stuff, and they get to go on Ellen and The View and Michael and Kelly and all type of stuff. Black films, no. First of all, if you can even make it out of the dungeon to even get some kind of recognition, to get somebody that will back your film, to even get it to a part where it can even get a massive distribution, then you might just be able to get in line for the hopes of the opportunity to be randomly selected from the lottery to possibly be considered maybe a nominee to become a nominee for the nominee of the nomination. That you got like a 1 in $30 billion chance, or 30 billion chance just to even be nominated. Our movies have to be so grand. Oprah gotta be in it and approve. You gotta get a whole bunch of A-list black actors. There has to be a great white hope character in the film, because if there's not a white person in the film that helps the struggling black character, you're not in the running. We have to go through so much to get through all that. And it's the biggest thing that we should be fighting for right now is distribution. We need to buy our own distribution company, create our own, so we can just get our films out there. Any black filmmaker can tell you, it is so hard to get massive distribution if you're not an independent. If you choose not to be an independent filmmaker and you choose to go massive, it is so hard to get your stuff out there if you don't have a picture deal, if you don't have a deal with one of these larger companies. All right, ask Tyler Perry. For all the money his movies make, it's so funny that he has yet to really get a film that gets a regular distribution. And now that he's not with Lionsgate, I don't know when his next film is coming out. But the average movie opens in 3,000 theaters. And I don't think he's ever had a movie open in 3,000 theaters on his first week, even if that movie was number one. He's had a lot of movies that opened at number one that were only open in 2,100 theaters. And I'm like, picture what would have happened had the films opened in 3,000 theaters, how much revenue could have made. Tyler Perry's not the best example to use because I'm not really a big fan of his work, but I understand the struggle, and I like that he does give people of color who often don't get acting opportunities. He's always giving everybody a job, because he'll pull people that we ain't seen since Hanging with Mr. Cooper and put them in a movie. But like Straight Outta Compton, going back to this, for Straight Outta Compton to be the biggest biopic of all time, that didn't even open in 3,000 theaters. That's how they do it. So I'm like, our biggest battle right now is distribution. Getting our own stuff out there, not having to beg people to, endorse our films. So that means our money has to go where it should be going. We have to really stop wasting our money on, foolish things and supporting everybody else, and we never support our own. All right? And that's why I'd also say with these award shows, stop seeking their approval. We have a ton of award shows that give all kinds of accolades to black entertainers, and we don't go to any of that. We barely watch it. We make fun of everything that's black because, oh, this is bootleg, this ain't blah, blah, blah. Well, if more of y'all would watch it, more revenue would come in. They could up the production for the awards for the next year or the following year. And I look at, and that's the same thing with music too. A lot of the black entertainers, they're not going to go to the Soul Train Awards. They're not going to go to this. They're not going to go to that. But they'll go to the Grammys and then get pissed off because they didn't get nominated. Look, they won't even be nominated for a Grammy, but go to the Grammy after party. Like, that's how pressed all these people are to kind of be accepted. And I'm like, that's cool. As a screenwriter and future filmmaker, hopefully, I'd be honored if I was nominated for an Academy Award or a Golden Globe. That's great, but at the end of the day, that's not what I'm striving for. I'm striving to make sure that any narrative that I put out there that tells the story of people who look like me does something. I hope that it does something to empower those who look like me, and that message is spread. That would be my biggest, thing. The Oscars and everything else is just the icing on the cake. But it's like we have to want to fight for more. So I feel like we have to embrace those award shows and those, panels and everything that give us those accolades. It's so sad that we have all these type of award shows and our A-list celebrities never show up to any of them. The D-listers that are all trying to stay relevant, they'll go there because they don't got enough to do. But I mean, a lot of our A-listers are never there. Oh, so-and-so couldn't be here to accept this award but we accept this on their behalf. That's sad. And I also think there needs to be another kind of award show specifically for film where it's really, and I mean like the credentials behind it are so well put together, and the people that are on the panels that would do all the judging, I mean, they have backgrounds in film. I mean, because film is such a broad industry, because if you look at the Academy Awards, they have a million categories, whether it's costume, staging, casting, the score, the soundtrack, the actors, the cinematography, the editing, the mix, like all of that. Like, it's great that the NAACP Awards honors our films, but because they're honoring also music and, contributions to the community, this, that, and the third, they can't do all that because we'd be watching that award show for 9 days. So it's like, can we have a specific award show that's created with a certain amount of prestige that would make us feel like, oh my gosh, this is the ultimate award to get. And it's not saying this is the black Oscars, because F y'all. This is just the whatever that award would be called. Like, that's the mentality we have to get in, because at the end of the day, okay, Hollywood is afraid of black people. The music industry is afraid of black people. The world is afraid of black people. Okay? The only time we get accolades is when we're selling out. The only time we get recognition is when we tell the story through the scope and the lens that they want to hear it from. You're never going to see a movie with a black cast, black writing, blah, blah, blah. If it questions the status quo, or the status quota, did I say it right? If it questions the status quo, it's never going to get that kind of accolade that it should receive, unless there's some great white hope character in there, or there's, something that makes white people more comfortable. And that's a sad thing to say, but at the end of the day, black entertainers, black producers, writers, all that, we are held to a standard that's so high. And even within that standard, we still can't do everything we want to do creatively because we have to keep everybody else comfortable. Nobody else has that kind of pressure on them. You go and you look at some of these movies that get nominated, like some of these movies that get nominated, I'm talking about these white films, I'm like, they can be the driest 3-hour and 51-minute films. You don't know what's going on. You've been watching it for 2 hours and you don't know what happens. All the action or everything that's important happens in the last 20 minutes. You've been sitting there for 3 days trying to figure out this movie. It's just plain Jane. Same thing with distribution of films. White people can make a film about anything that gets distributed. Us? Oh no. It's got to be a movement. So the thing is, we really have to just start investing in our own. I know the Oscars have this prestige, but it's prestige for white people. It's not a prestige for us. Don't you ever think about, like, America as a whole is a very award showish type of country. We got award show for everything. And in my opinion, I feel like the history of a lot of that is just showing, I feel like it was a way to kind of, don't take this the wrong way, I feel like it was a way to kind of uplift mediocrity, give mediocrity an opportunity to feel important, because I feel like a lot of the accolades and the awards and the achievements we give to a lot of people, they weren't really earned. I just feel like they use that as a pedestal to continue putting out that image that mediocrity. And when I'm saying mediocrity, I'm just talking about the majority, the masses, a lot of times when it comes to entertainment. I just feel like they put out the narrative that everything that they do is superb, and in order for that to be endorsed, there has to be award shows. There has to be that visual of them standing on a stage getting all kinds of awards and sweeping stuff, and sweeping as far as taking all the awards in one night. That has to be put out there to make people think that this is great. There's a lot of entertainers and musicians and directors and stuff that just their name alone, they can come out bull crap. And society thinks it's the best because we've already been conditioned to think that. And I feel like with the Academy Awards, that's what we've started to do. We hear the Oscars and we're like, oh my God, that's the best of the best of the best. Since why? Since when? Because a bunch of old 50-year-old, 60-year-old white men decided to say so? And? Bye. Ain't nobody want to hear that. So I really think we as a community, black people, and anybody else that's watching and wants to join our club for the week, yeah, okay, cool, for now, we have to invest in ourselves. Stop seeking their validation. If those awards and stuff come, that's cool. It is a great honor. I love to see a Viola Davis win an Emmy Award. I love to see Halle Berry win an Oscar. That's beautiful. I think it's great. I think it's a problem that we're still having a whole bunch of this is the first black person to win blah, 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 blah. I'm like, in 2016, y'all should have got all the firsts out back by the time we got through the 90s. Y'all still giving out firsts? Okay. And then, hell, we don't ever get the seconds, just the first. Give it to you one time, that's it. No more. Thanks. So, embrace and celebrate our own. Embrace and celebrate what we get, and let's uplift what we do for ourselves, because they're not doing it for us. But for some reason, we think once that happens, once we get their approval, all of a sudden we get to sit at the white table. To be honest, no, I'm good. I'm fine standing in the black line. I won't lose sleep at all. Okay, I will be just fine. So share your 2 cents. This was kind of a long video, but hell, that's how I felt. What you wanted to do. Plus, this is the industry I'm passionate about next to music. This is what I'm trying to work in. So hey, just putting it out there. As a filmmaker, I'm not worried about an Oscar. I'm not worried about an Emmy and all that. I mean, it's great. My biggest thing is I would like distribution. I want my stuff out there. I want to get to as many people as possible and change as many lives as possible for the better. That's my focus. If the awards come, cool, great. Great, amazing. I'm glad you like my work. But a lot of the stuff that I plan on putting out there is not going to make a lot of people comfortable. So I don't expect to be getting, all kinds of great awards in the future. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm out. Subscribe, share your 2 cents.